This everyday object killed thousands of factory workers, melted their jawbones from the inside out, and sparked one of history's most important labor movements, all before becoming the humble matchstick in your kitchen drawer. They're called safety matches, but the story of their invention involves deadly poison, factory explosions, and a disease so horrifying it literally made workers' faces glow in the dark. The year is 1826. You want to light a candle in your London apartment. You reach for a friction match, one of the new chemical marvels of the Industrial Revolution. But there's a problem. These matches contain white phosphorus, one of the most toxic substances ever used in a consumer product. They could ignite anywhere, in your pocket while walking, against the sole of your shoe, even from the friction of being jostled in their own box. Worse, the white phosphorus fumes were slowly killing the people who made them. In 1844, Swedish inventor Gustav Erik Pasch was working in his laboratory, obsessed with a seemingly impossible problem. How do you make matches safe? White phosphorus matches were everywhere, cheap, convenient, and terrifying. They poisoned children who mistakenly ate them. They caused accidental fires that burned down entire city blocks. And they were destroying the bodies of factory workers from the inside out. Pasch had a radical idea. What if you separated the reactive ingredients? What if the match head and the striking surface needed each other to work? He moved the white phosphorus away from the match head entirely, replacing it with red phosphorus, a far less toxic chemical variant, and placed it only on a special striking surface. The match head itself would contain potassium chlorate and sulfur. Alone they were stable. But when dragged across that red phosphorus strip, the friction would generate just enough heat to cause ignition. On paper, it was brilliant. In practice, it would take years to perfect. In his modest Stockholm lab, Gustav Erik Pasch faced repeated failure. Safety matches, on paper so promising, wouldn't spark reliably. Each day, Pasch adjusted his formula, adding more potassium chlorate, adjusting sulfur ratios. Still, factory owners laughed him off. They wanted matches that worked every time, even if they meant danger and disease for workers. For years, Pasch struggled alone. Colleagues told him his safe matches were useless. Children in his neighborhood still suffered burns from misfiring friction matches. Some workers had already lost their jawbones to phossy jaw, yet the world looked away. It took nearly a decade before hope arrived. Johan Edvard Lundström, a Swedish entrepreneur with business sense and scientific curiosity, heard of Pasch's experiments. Lundström visited Pasch, reviewed every formula and failure. Then he went further. He added powdered glass to the match head for friction, and he ensured the red phosphorus on the box was precisely formulated for ignition. By 1855, they patented a working product. Lundström distributed his matches from the bustling Jönköping factory. The matches finally lit reliably, but only on their purpose-built box. Accidental fires plummeted, yet Pasch's triumph was bittersweet. White phosphorus matches dominated markets for decades. With every cheap pack, thousands of workers, mostly young girls, paid the price. Inside these factories, the air itself glowed faintly green at dusk. Phosphorus dust coated everything: hair, skin, clothing. Some workers, desperate for money, licked their fingertips to speed up packing, unwittingly poisoning themselves. The disease known as phossy jaw destroyed lives. Jawbones rotted, faces deformed, social stigma grew. Some victims wore veils to hide their wounds, others faded from sight, dying in squalid tenements. Surgeons documented glowing bones, a horror no one outside the industry saw. Factory owners pushed for silence, hiding deaths, blaming poverty, and claiming matches were safe enough. Change finally erupted in 1888. At the Bryant and May factory in East London, 1,400 girls, many as young as 13, walked out in protest. Their demands? Safer work, fair wages, dignity. Leaders like Annie Besant rallied the press, revealing conditions to the world. The girls faced threats, loss of pay, blacklisting, even violence. Yet their courage never cracked. Protest banners waved as crowds marched down London streets, their stories echoing into Parliament itself. 3 weeks later, Bryant and May gave in. The girls won better conditions. Their strike became a rallying cry for England's labour movement, linking worker safety and women's rights in a new era. With white phosphorus banned, a new generation of chemists and engineers refined every step of match production. In Sweden, the Jönköping factories became beacons of industrial efficiency. Wood for matches was now chosen carefully, like aspen and poplar, trees that burn clean and regrow quickly. Workers, once exposed to poison daily, now managed roaring machines behind safety glass. Coating lines sped up, precision sprayers applied heads to thousands of sticks at once. Safety matches themselves evolved. Heads became more reliable, boxes more colorful. By the 1920s, Swedish matches were exported around the globe, stamped with iconic designs, Olympic athletes, world landmarks, advertising slogans. Today's safety matches exist in forms Gustav Pasch and Lundström never imagined. Stormproof matches for extreme adventurers, waterproof matches for military survival kits, giant kitchen matches for lighting grills and fireplaces. Globally, an estimated 40 billion matches are still produced each year, even as lighters outsell them by a wide margin. In rural South America, Asia, and Africa, the affordable match remains the gateway to light and warmth. The humble safety match sparked a silent revolution. No longer the catalyst for unchecked factory suffering, it became a tiny talisman of safety, justice, and innovation. For Annie Besant's Matchgirls, the match represented hope and dignity, a battle won. For inventors like Pasch and Lundström, it was proof that relentless tinkering and moral courage could change the rules for everyone. Beyond its chemical equation, the safety match lit the way for future reforms. Workplace regulations, chemical safety standards, and the right to demand better, no matter your station in life. Even today, the phrase "strike a match" carries weight. It calls to mind liberation, over darkness, over injustice, over the dangers our ancestors quietly overcame. Next time you reach for a match, remember the risks taken, the lives changed, the revolutions sparked. Everyday objects hold stories that shaped our world. If you want to discover more hidden histories, subscribe and join our journey. Because the most ordinary objects are sometimes the keys to our most extraordinary stories.